doesn't go the way that we expect it to. At least for me, it doesn't. I did an episode on another podcast called The Melancholy Condition. Good show, by the way. Go check it out. And in it, I talked a little bit about Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law, in case you're clueless, is a saying that goes like this: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I'm not saying that it's true, but but what I am saying is that Murphy's Law has got me plenty of times before. Plenty of times. And I believe that we have the power to change our situations sometimes. And sometimes things are a little out of your control, okay? And in those times, you have to sit back and you think, do I let this stress me out, or do I make a joke about it and keep moving forward? All right. Hi. I'm Asia, and welcome to the CRF podcast, where I, an introvert who doesn't really talk that much, can and will say a lot about those times where you really should have just lowered your expectations. And I do mean like really lowered them. To be clear, however, none of these are going to be truly horrendous examples. This isn't supposed to be the depressing hour, okay? Examples, they're gonna have a wide range. For example, yesterday I ate at Burger King. I was about to order, I don't know like the real name of it, but there were those bacon cheese tater tots. But my dad said, no, don't get them. Oh, my hair. Sorry. My hair's like sticking up for some reason. Okay. My dad was like, no, don't get them. So I asked him why, and he said that they look nothing like the picture, like at all, nothing at all. And they're just soggy, greasy, mush-filled tater tots. They're not good. They're not good. And so I just ordered the fries. Now we all know that fast food often looks nothing at all like the advertisements, except for maybe Chick-fil-A. I'll go with that. Their stuff usually comes pretty close, but most of the time it doesn't even look or taste remotely close to what you thought it was going to be like. But that's pretty small on the scale of, does this really matter? Here's something on the far opposite side. Let me, disclaimer, hello. If you're new here, you're probably wondering, if you're watching this on YouTube, why I am looking sometimes at the camera and then sometimes in this direction. Here's the thing, my setup's kind of awkward, and my microphone is facing to the right of me. My camera is facing to the left of me, and my microphone and camera on two different sides because my computer is on the right side of me. If I put my camera also on the right side of me, you would not see this lovely setup right here, which is what I want. There's currently not anything on my computer screen. It is recording, but I like took it down so that you couldn't see it. Yeah, that's about that. So I'm gonna be constantly looking in this direction, also because I'm looking at my notes, which are also to the right of me, but my camera's on this side. So if you're confused, that is why. Okay, back to the story. Here's something on the far opposite side of the scale. College. Yes, I have mentioned this before, and I will say it again in case you haven't heard it. Here's the story. So I attended a small, very, very small, tiny digital art school about 40 minutes from where I live, depending on who's driving. Their school website was really confusing, and it wasn't very coherent. The first time I think I had really gotten a taste of like who they were was when they came to a college fair at my high school, where they set up like this table at the gym and they were giving out these flyers and whatever. And before then I had noticed that they were kind of not like the direction that I wanted to go in with my career. But after they came to the college fair, I said, okay, I'll like look at their website, I'll check them out. And after looking at their website, I was like, holy crap, this is really bad. You could click on one thing, and it would take you to a page that looked like it wasn't even from the same website. Like it was a completely different website, and some things were on a completely different website. Like they had two websites, and sometimes I'd be looking for information and I'd be on the wrong website. It should all just be there. Like I said, it wasn't very coherent, it wasn't clear. So anyway, I decided, I was like, hey, I'm gonna apply, see what happens. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And so I did like some, I don't know if it was an application or not, but I think it was like some pre-application that you would do on their website, one of the websites anyway. And I'm trying to think here, get my thoughts together. After you filled this out, then they'd send you like an assessment of some sort or whatever. And so they sent me my assessment, and after that it said I would get an email. And so I got an email from the school, and it said that I had won some sort of scholarship award, like for whatever reason. What the assessment that I did, which was pretty bogus, I'm just gonna throw that out there, it's a pretty bogus assessment. They said I'd won some scholarship from it, or I get some type of award, like monetary award, that would go towards tuition, I believe. And so I was like, cool, that's really nice. So I went to the school, and it turns out that nobody there, none of the leaders of the school, none of the staff, none of the big people that really should know about this kind of stuff knew what I was talking about. Nobody. And I even talked to the woman from the email, like the woman in which the email was addressed and signed from. It had her name and her signature on it, so you would think she would know what I was talking about. And so I showed her the email, and she's like, oh yeah, that, and then like moves on to something else. I don't even know if I got the scholarship or not, but she was confused and I was unimpressed. Just leave it there. Anyway, I decided to take the tour from the school. They were like, you just need to come and check it out and look around and talk to the admissions counselor. I was like, fine, I'll do it. And so that's what I did. I took the tour and I talked to an admissions counselor, who I later realized conveniently left out a lot of things that he really should have mentioned. And you know, in hindsight, I feel like I should have asked more questions, but because, you know, I was a high school senior, I wasn't even 18 yet at the time. I didn't turn 18 until August, and this was like way before then. I was still in high school at that point, so I hadn't graduated yet. I was really naive. I didn't know much about the film industry. I didn't know much about the questions that you should really be asking about college when you're making this type of decision. And I really wish that my high school counselor had prepared me more for that, but she didn't. That's a different story. Okay. So I said, fine, the school looks pretty decent. After I took the tour, I said, okay, they've kind of got, I guess, what I want. I can get a film degree here. That's, I guess, the goal. So this is where I'll go, you know? I'm not trying to trash talk the school. I'm really not. I could. If I really wanted to, I could. And I could gather so many other people that would help me out. But I don't want to, because there were a lot of truly genuine people there, I will say. There were some teachers that seemed to really love what they did, and they seemed to really be interested in helping you out, not only with your classwork, but with your like career goal anyway, because the film industry is so different than other industries, because this is a creative industry, and here they're really looking for experience. They're really looking for not just a degree. They want to see your, like, what you can do, basically. And it's hard because it's not something that you can just go and you can show off like your paper and just be like, hey, I graduated, let me get a job. You know, well, actually, I don't know any job that works like that, but but what I'm saying is it's harder to find this type of work because this isn't a typical career path, I will say. And a lot of us didn't want to work for other people. Our end goal was ultimately to be filmmakers ourselves and to be the ones behind the camera, to be the ones directing, to be the ones writing, So it's a whole different ball game. Like, going from college to a career is already hard, but like going from college to a career that's so totally different than other career paths, like that's difficult on a whole other scale. So it was really nice to have people to talk to that really wanted to help you out. And there were staff at the school that always checked up on you, that made sure you were good. Like, you could just go, even if you were hungry, you could go and like tell them like, hey, I need some food, I haven't eaten today, and they'd help you out. That's the kind of people that I'm talking about that were at the school, and they're the reasons why I won't completely trash the place. But a lot of things were so shady, so shady. And one of the biggest things that I experienced in an expectations versus reality type deal, because that's what this episode is about, expectations versus reality. Am I in focus? I just realized I might not be in focus. Okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. It looks like I might be. Hey, camera, please focus on me. That's an Ariana Grande song, never mind. So the biggest, one of them, because there were a few actually, one of the biggest expectations versus reality flops that I faced there was the whole camera situation, okay? You would think that at a school that has a film program, you would be allowed to use the film cameras, okay? They showed us a lot of really nice cameras on the tour. They talked about them. They said like, this is the industry standard, and here am I, naive as I don't know what. I don't know a ton about the industry standard. I don't know like the latest on cameras. I just know that this is what I wanted to do, and yes, I did do my own research, but like I said, this was something I was really expecting, you know, to go to school for them to help me understand, because there are people that don't go to film school, but that means you're on your own, like figuring stuff out, and I didn't want to have to go through that, because I know that there was just so much information that really would be hard for me to learn on my own. And also with the equipment, I don't have the budget to go out and rent or buy this equipment myself. So I'm figuring like, hey, if they got this here, this is a great way for me to get experience. And boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. So this stuff was like, it looked high end, quote unquote high end. And the whole time I was there, I can count on one hand, like 2 fingers, the times that we actually got to use nicer equipment. And it was never without the professor, okay? So it's not like we could go and we could really learn how to like use these cameras and just like mess with them. And not mess with them in a bad way, but like seriously, this is the stuff that they're supposed to teach us. They're supposed to teach us how to handle this kind of stuff so that when it is time for us to use it, we know how. Not let the professor hold it the entire time and we just stand around. You know, that's not how this works. So you would think though, wait, no, before I get to that, I can understand having new students not use the more expensive equipment when they're first, when you are just a new student, because you don't know how to handle it. You might not know how to use it. This is why you're here. You're here to learn. So you start off with smaller equipment, but you don't keep that small, outdated equipment the entire time that you're a student there. That's not how this works. So I can understand that, but what I don't understand is, after all the time that a lot of us had been there, we weren't using the cameras that they had shown us on the tour. And not just the cameras, but like the equipment there, a lot of it was busted, a lot of it was old, a lot of it was broken, a lot of it, like, you had to rig it to figure out how to get it to work the way you want it to. There was like tripods that were missing pieces, and like they wouldn't hold your camera steady, and like if you happened to rent that one because you couldn't choose what you rented, like they would just come and give it to you. You'd be like, well, I gotta figure this out now. There's just so many things that were not okay, and you would think that they'd fix it, or they'd tell somebody before they invite all of these people to the school. Yeah, that's my rant about that. But here's the thing. There were some students that did get to use the nicer stuff. And it was a strong case of favoritism going on, which I'm going to be honest, I actually did expect. So it wasn't an expectations versus reality type thing. I knew that when I got there, I was not going to be one of the favorites. I knew it. It just, like, it comes with a job description. There are some people that just have that thing that makes people want to give you the world. And then there are people like me who kind of just have to work for it. And I think a lot of times people just truly underestimate me. I'm not one to pull the black card. I'm not one to pull a woman card. But you don't typically see a lot of black women doing this type of thing. You don't. So there were a lot of times where, and I won't say it was even just because of that. Sometimes it might have just been because of my personality, because I was so quiet, because I am kind of awkward, because I seem so young, and I was younger than a lot of the people there, to be honest with you. There were a lot of reasons why I might not have been the favorite, why I might not have been the person that they thought would stand out. But I was a lot of the time, actually. And a lot of the things that I did, people did really enjoy. So that's that. But like I said, I knew that there would be favoritism. I just didn't think that it would be as much as it was. But that's anywhere you go, someone's always going to have the upper hand. I think that overall, out of the whole entire picture, I expected way more of that school than they were prepared to actually give me. I don't regret it, though. There were a lot of things that I did get from that school. I gained a good mentor, a really good mentor. I have friends that I've made that they're really cool people, and I know that, like, I can work with them definitely in the future on any project that I have, because we've built that bond. And I've confirmed what I've suspected all along, and that's that there is no better film school than actually working hands-on on a film set. Okay, there are some schools out there that, yes, you may be getting a lot of hands-on experience, but there are some that aren't. This was one of them. In my case, I would have been better off probably just learning to do this kind of stuff myself instead of paying all that money. It's all about the experience and not about the relentless busy work. Yeah, I had to do a lot of relentless busy work. It was so much that had nothing to do with learning about film. It had nothing to do with my degree. And that's any college, you know, they want you to take extra classes, but like these were extra classes. There were so many extra classes. I was like, what even am I doing? And even if I'm gonna have to take this class, I would like to actually be learning in it and not just having, you know, papers thrown at me say, do this, do this, do this, do this, and this isn't helping. You know, why am I paying this money? Why am I here? Why am I wasting my time? So yeah, I did leave. That's for reasons I choose not to mention, because I was actually just going to stick it out, but I couldn't, and I don't want to mention it because it could get very messy. Not saying that I can't handle messy, but right now I've got bigger fish to fry, so I'm not worrying about that. I do want to say, though, that I'm uber proud of all the friends that I made there who are still there and currently on track to graduate this September. The few that did stay, I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work. That's what I want to say. But there were a lot of us, a ton of us actually, that said adios, no hasta mañana. We didn't say that. We didn't say see you tomorrow. We didn't say see you later. We said goodbye. Okay. We said boa viagem. Did I say that right? Viagem. I think that's, yeah. Portuguese. That's Portuguese for good riddance. I do speak a little bit of Portuguese, and I do speak a little bit of Portuguese, and I do understand a lot of Portuguese. I understand more than I speak. And sometimes, like, the way that they say their words, like where you put the accent and the stress, like, trips me up. So I think, though, it's boa viagem, something like that. Okay, anyway. Yeah, good riddance. That's basically what we said. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, sometimes things just go wrong and sometimes they just suck. Sometimes things don't live up to expectations. These are those things. Next up, like I said, this is gonna bounce all over the place. Do you guys remember Heelys? There are those shoes that were really thick, like the thick DC skateboarding shoes that were popular back then, like in the earlier 2000s. And they had one wheel in each shoe, in the heel, hence the name, Heelys. On the commercial, those bad boys looked like buckets of fun. Like I could be a skating legend with just one purchase of a probably $60 something pair of shoes. I don't even know if they still sell them, but like I don't remember how much they cost either. But they were probably like $60, more than I would want to pay for a pair of shoes with wheels in them. I don't know. Like that's so weird. Anyway, I got myself a pink and black pair one year. Wasn't nearly as easy as they made it look. Plus, my mom didn't want me using them outside on the sidewalk because she was feeling like, you know, I was probably gonna find a way to bust my forehead open. I was really clumsy. The only other alternative then would be indoors, but there wasn't anywhere with like open stretches of ground, like smooth stretches of ground, except for Walmart. And there was one Walmart in particular that had just redone the floors in this beautiful, beautiful, smooth gray concrete. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And when I saw it for the first time, I said, holy cow, that is some nice flooring. Perfect for busting out those Heelys. And again, my mom said no. Too many people. I could knock over a shelf. I could break my neck. My mom was very concerned about everything. I finally did get to try them though, try them out, and it was possibly the most disappointed I've been all year. Not worth the hype, not a bit. Like I said, it wasn't easy. You could probably just get a pair of skates and it would go so much better. I know some kids that did it, they would like be heeling around everywhere and they were like looking so cool. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't fun. It wasn't worth the money that my parents spent. Do you want to know something though that was totally worth the hype? Fire Festival. Who? I can't even go down that road. But did y'all see the Netflix documentary on it though? It was wild. I didn't watch the Hulu one, but I did watch the Netflix one. It was so funny. That it was really sad though, because a lot of those people didn't get paid, and then there was that one woman who like lost her life savings trying to pay her employees because she was supposed to get paid and then she didn't get paid. There's just like a lot of things that went so totally wrong with that, but yeah, the documentary was still pretty funny because it was wild from start to finish. And there was that one part there's that one part where dude said something like this: I was fully prepared to go down there and do what I had to do to get that water. It was wild. Okay, anyway, here's another thing that flopped though. Although I will probably get crucified for this one, I'm gonna say it anyway. Captain Marvel. Expectations versus reality. Oh my god. Okay. Expectations. It's a Marvel superhero movie. It's gonna be good. Like, what are we in? Phase 3? Phase 4? Something like that? In whatever phase that we're in right now, these movies are fantastic. And even like before that, the movies were fantastic. But this has a different feel to it than the other movies did. And I love it. I love it so much. Who doesn't love it? I don't know. But, like I said, it's a Marvel superhero movie. It's gonna be good. Hats off to Marvel for that. I just expect them to be good now, okay? Here's the reality though. It sucked. Moment of silence. You know, I'll be a little lenient here. Maybe it didn't completely suck, but it was so not what a lot of us wanted from that movie, and it seemed kind of thrown together, just like, and it completely failed to make me care about Captain Marvel. Let's just go ahead and nip this in the bud, okay? Get it out there. No sugarcoating, no beating around the bush. I didn't care about Captain Marvel. I still don't. I don't think that I will, actually. But let me explain why. There are some people that enjoyed it, but it really didn't feel like the Marvel that we've been seeing lately. And that's a problem. But Some might say, and some have said to me specifically before, well, that's because it's not like any other Marvel movie. This one's feminist, and a woman is the most powerful person on the Avengers team. She's the key to defeating Thanos. Okay, yeah, well, here's the thing. If she's really the key to defeating Thanos, then Avengers Endgame is really not going to be good, okay? Why? Several reasons. Number one, in the Justice League movie from DC, which I tried to have high hopes for, but they let me down, Superman was the key to defeating Steppenwolf. He stepped in and saved the day when the team had done all that they could. It really wasn't a team effort. It was all Superman. Basically, they made it seem like he could have just done it all by himself without any of them. And I absolutely couldn't stand that, you know? So, with that being said, if that's what they do with Captain Marvel, well, I will be very disappointed. What I like about the Avengers movies and just here, like, they've got them intertwined so well that I just want to say Avengers, but I really mean like all of these. I mean like Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean like the Thor movies, I mean all of these put together are so well crafted. We're just gonna call all of them the Avengers at this point. So, you know, I'm talking about Star-Lord, who single-handedly managed to be the whole entire reason why Thanos won. Moment of silence. So I'm talking about his team. I'm also talking about Spider-Man. I'm talking about like everyone here, okay? Except for like Deadpool and the X-Men. I really wish that they were in this, but they're not. So anyway, what I like about that is that they all balance each other out. Thor's got his hammer. Yes, he's super powerful with his hammer, but as we saw in Ragnarok, when his sister destroyed his hammer, without that hammer, Thor is kind of awkward, okay? Hulk's super strong, but Hulk can be pretty inconvenient for Bruce Banner. Hulk's got a mind of his own. Like, you know, if he wants to come out, he will. And sometimes that's not good for Bruce. He stayed out for way too long one time, and Bruce couldn't be himself. And then switch it the other way around. Now Hulk doesn't want to even come out. So now Bruce can't really do anything. See how inconvenient that is? Okay? There's Vision. There's Hawkeye. There's my personal favorite, Black Widow, because she's played by Scarlett Johansson, my favorite actress. And then there's Scarlet Witch. There's Spider-Man. Who else am I missing? Like, yeah, I'm missing a ton of people. But there's all of these people, and none of them are inherently better than the others, okay? There's Iron Man. He's like nothing without his suit. I mean, I love Tony Stark, but he's no Batman. Batman is a normal dude who happens to be rich and in shape. And that's the extent of Batman's powers. Like, he's got cool gadgets and whatever, but like for the most part, Batman's like not a superhero. Neither is Tony Stark. But Tony Stark really can't do much without his suit. Batman can. So, like I said, no one is inherently more powerful than the others. There's Spider-Man, who wants to be on the team so bad, but he's so young, and he's like just now figuring out his powers. He's making bad decisions. He's making good decisions. Everything is just so well balanced, well crafted. I love it. I love it. I love it. They all come together, and it's not a one man, or in this case, a one woman show. Okay, number 2. I can't stand diversity for the sake of diversity. It plucks my nerves. Oh my god, it plucks my nerves, okay? I didn't want this to be a rant, I really don't, but I gotta say it, alright? There are people arguing that we need more powerful women superheroes. Excuse you, have you not seen Scarlet Witch? Have you not? Because she's super cool, got crazy powers. Like, my girl is really, really good at what she does. I don't know, maybe they just don't understand that, but anyway. And that's why they think it's such a win that Captain Marvel, a woman, is the most powerful superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is purely my opinion. I'm gonna need none of you, to come for my head, alright? That includes you, Brie Larson, because I feel like she'd be the first person to try and come for my head when I say this. When at the end of the last Avengers movie, Nick Fury, I believe it was, hinted that they'd have to call Captain Marvel to come save the day. My brother and I both looked at each other. We were in the movie theater in the back row, and we looked at each other like, oh God, here they go. Here they go. And it 100% didn't have anything to do with her being a woman. But that's what people try to say. They try to say, well, I think it's just because you don't like the fact that it's a woman. No, that has nothing to do with it. Okay, instead it had everything to do with them pulling a new character out of basically nowhere and trying to make us care about her, okay? And I'm not saying that Captain Marvel is a new character. I know she's got her own comics. I know, like, the whole story behind her. I know, okay? But what I'm saying is that she wasn't in the previous movies. We haven't had the time to spend with her like we've been spending with all these other characters, okay? They haven't built her up. They just now gave her her own movie. But now she's a part of the solution. Like, where did she come from? I know they explain all of this in the Captain Marvel movie, where she's been, but it still feels like a cop-out, okay? And I just can't make myself invest in her in the way that I've invested in the others. I just can't. Especially when they went and made her more powerful than everyone else. Like, you can't just bring someone in and just be like, here she is, guys. She's the answer. She's the key. Like that. No, sir. Not having it. Okay. My point here is that it was very mistimed. I feel like if they were gonna use her to balance out what Thanos did, because the rest of them obviously don't have enough power on their own, they should have introduced her way back. Way back yonder, okay? Way back when Iron Man 1 first came out. They should have talked about it then, okay? Here's the thing. Scarlett Johansson doesn't have her own movie yet, and yet I care about her. Alright? So it's not about the fact that, you know, she's a solo, she's got her own solo movie. It's not about that. It's about the fact that she came out of nowhere. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? And it's full of politics. It's so full of politics. Superhero movies don't need that much feminism. They need good writing. They need good characters. They need cinematic shots. They don't need you telling me that women are great. I understand that already. I am one, okay? I already got it. And I know that they're going to say, well, a lot of people don't have it. Yes, they do, okay? Like I said, there are so many strong female characters that people can look up to. You don't have to make this diversity for the sake of diversity, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'm all for empowering women, but don't do it just to be doing it. Make it a viable part of the story, alright? Shoot, I felt empowered like crazy by the Kim Possible cartoon show. Just to be clear, and I cannot stress this enough, I am not talking about the live action movie, I'm talking about the cartoon, the original cartoon with Christy Carlson Romano, I think that's her name, playing the voice of Kim Possible. That is what I'm talking about. Okay? Here's what worked about that. Kim was better than her male best friend Ron and all the action-y fighting stuff, okay? She got better grades too. She was inherently cooler as a person than Ron. But nowhere in the show did it feel like they were being patronizing. Nowhere in the show did I get the sense or feeling that they were trying to just make women feel better about themselves and make sure that people knew that women can be better at things too. Okay? No. It just felt normal. It felt like Kim was cool for the sake of the story. Like, it fit in the story. It didn't feel like they were like, oh, well, we need a strong woman. Let's write a girl movie. No, that's what Captain Marvel felt like. Okay? That's what they should have done with Captain Marvel, in my humble opinion. My very, very humble, honest opinion. I think that that's the route that they should have taken for Captain Marvel. And so yes, back to expectation versus reality. I expected way more from Marvel, and I think they let us down with this one. They let us down, okay? No one really talks about Ant-Man and the Wasp. No one talks about that movie. But you know what? I would so much rather go and watch that movie than Captain Marvel, okay? Because that movie, even though it wasn't one of Marvel's top movies, it still felt like a Marvel movie. This one didn't. Alright. I think I've gotten that out now. And you know, I really want to say something about Black Panther 2 now that we're on this whole diversity for the sake of diversity thing, but I'm not going to get into that. I might save that for a completely different episode because yes, I liked Black Panther, but there was one thing about it that I think a lot of people are missing. But we'll get into that later, okay? Because this is expectations versus reality. Alright. So yeah, you might think differently than me about Captain Marvel or about any of the things that I've said, but that's part of the beauty of the human race. We're all individuals. We're not going to agree on everything, but I think one thing we can agree on is that Endgame better be a good movie. Avengers Endgame better be a good movie. We have waited and waited and waited. Not like it's been a super long time, but we've waited for this moment. They built it up. Now they better like not let us down, okay? So I think this is the last expectation versus reality that I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up, and that is the Completely Random Foolishness podcast. This show right here. I am not, tongue-tied again. I am not sure what you expected when you decided to listen to this episode, okay? I'm not even sure what I expected from hosting this podcast. I'm not. Maybe you expected something completely different than what you've heard just now, and maybe you're pleasantly surprised. Maybe not. There's a ton of things, there's a ton of maybes here for both me and for you, and I will say this though. The reality is that I had no idea what I was doing when I started, and I still have no idea what I'm doing now. As I sit here in front of this camera, I feel equally as awkward as I did the first time I sat in front of this camera. The first time I started speaking into this microphone, the very first time I put out an episode, I feel the same way now. I feel like that this is my show, and although that this is my show, I feel like it's for everybody. Like, it's everybody's show, because if the people that are listening don't like it, then, you know, it's not just about me anymore. It's about the audience. So the reality is that even though this is my show, like I said, this is everyone's show. The reality is that I suck at promoting and I suck at marketing, and my show is growing. Yes, it is. Thank God it is growing. You know, I love to see my efforts not being in vain, but it also does not grow at the same rate that other shows grow. Not everyone's show will grow at the same rate, and so sometimes that's a bummer. The reality is, not every show is going to do the same, you know? Not everybody's got the same platform. Some people started out with fans of from another fan base already. Some of us started from ground zero. That's the reality. The reality is that I've had way more equipment problems that I should have been having. The reality is that my camera and my computer and my microphone, everything has given me way more issues than I expected. That's expectations versus reality. The reality is that people have no idea what to expect when they listen to my podcast for the first time, because it's not really about one clear thing. Like, you know, I had so many people telling me when I first started this podcast that you need to pick one clear thing, otherwise people aren't going to know what they're coming for. And I'm like, you're right, but I don't want to pick one clear thing, because the podcasts that I listen to aren't about one clear thing. They're about a bunch of things, and I just enjoy listening to them because I enjoy listening to them. That's what I want my show to be like. But the reality is that sometimes it's really hard to market a show like that. You don't know how to market a show that's about everything. The reality is that podcasting is not nearly as easy as it seems, and it can be really hard to put yourself out there and your product out there, because you know that people can and will tear it apart, rip it to shreds, and not be nice about it. Not constructive criticism, but just plain outright criticism. But the reality is also that podcasting is really fun. And I really enjoy being able to have a platform that I created myself to just talk about the things that I want to talk about. And even though, like I said, this is everyone's show, it's still something that I created. And so I love that. The reality is that it's one step closer in my fever dream, my ridiculous fever dream, to be one of the world's greatest media producers. I'm talking filmmaking, feature films, guys, feature films. I'm talking music videos, I'm talking regular music, I'm talking video games, I'm talking TV shows, I'm talking animation, and I'm talking about everything, because I want to do it all. I want to take over the world, or at least die trying. That is the reality. And that's a wrap, folks. Folks, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, just know that I appreciate you so much. And it's people like you that make podcasting a little bit easier to do. Please leave a review if you can. Depending on what platform you're on, you might not be able to leave a review. I'm not sure how they all work. I know some better than others. Oh, my leg. I really gotta find a better office chair. You guys know what I'm sitting in right now? I'm sitting in a lawn chair. Yes, that's right, a foldable lawn chair. Like the kind you sit at baseball games for your kid. Okay? And it's not very comfortable. I've had my legs crossed this entire time, and now my foot's gone to sleep, so... Please leave a review if you can. It would be very helpful. I think I just said that, but I repeated it. Whatever, it's fine. I make new episodes every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday when it gets super busy. I think the last 2 weeks, or maybe like the last week and the week before that, they came out on Thursday. Sometimes things just happen. But most of the time it's on Wednesday. And if you're listening on the Coming Right Up network, you'll notice that new episodes for you come out on Fridays instead of Wednesdays or Thursdays. That's basically it. Okay, see y'all next week. My hair, why does it keep sticking up? Really need to do something about that.